She looks at like 30 minutes here. John is going to picture.
Sorry about that.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our meeting, the Constantine Village Council, regularly scheduled meeting. 7:01 p.m. There's the meeting. And I'll ask the clerk if you'll call roll, please.
Lawrence.
Here.
G. Mathers.
Here.
Piper. Here. King.
Here.
Steers.
Here.
Tinman.
Here.
And Mathers. Yes, here.
Okay, all trustees present, thank you. If you would, please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance to Christ.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item, of course, is approval of agenda for tonight's meeting.
Yeah. Just make a couple of changes with adjustments. Please remove the FOP contract, and the explanation is that they have the rates wrong in the contract. So I repaired those and let them know that and told them it'd be at the meeting tonight, because we'd rather you didn't do that until we look at the wage scale that you presented. So I said, okay. So please remove that from unfinished business A. And I'd like to add 2 items, please, under new business. The first would be budget workshop, and the second would be a budget public hearing. So those would be C and D on the under new business.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Got another amendment.
Could I make an amendment, please? Could I add, I don't know if it's unfinished business, but, village manager recruiting, I guess maybe how it's going. I'd like to discuss that.
Village manager, what?
Recruiting, or however we're going about finding one, or we,
Oh, okay. Right.
that'd be under unfinished business? Or do you
Yeah.
want to-
It'll be under A now, since we took off FOP contract, which was the A. Is your motion still stand, Dick?
Yes.
Okay. You need a second on approving the minutes as amended.
Would we have to have a new one after, no?
I said as amended.
Oh,
I second.
okay, okay, sorry.
Support.
Okay, motion by Lawrence, support by King to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes, those opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, next are our minutes from the meeting of March 3rd, 2025.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of the meeting from March 3rd, 2025.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by trustee Piper, support by trustee Brennan to approve the regular meeting minutes of 3/3/2025 as presented. Discussion, changes? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item number 4, payment of bills. Bills are on pages 6 through 16. Total amount is $106,672.08. 106,672.08.
I have some questions. On page 8, the Bush and Bush for 7,000 full time. I know we say annual,
Yes.
but we don't use them hardly at all anymore, do we?
Well, he still used for ordinance or traffic violations, some ordinance, but no, I mean, the total, I think, for the prosecutor job was about 4,000, and the other was about 3,000,
There's page 19, earth, the water jetting, at the very top of the page. I don't know what that would have been for.
This is a guess.
I can read to you what the bill says.
Okay, that'd be great.
Trailer jet with 2 technicians to high velocity jet wash sanitary sewer line from clean out to city main. Blockage at first location was heavy scale buildup in line. Used button head nozzle to sweep line multiple times to break up scale as best we could. Push camera to verify line was not broken. Blockage at the second location was root intrusion at the city tap. Used warthog nozzle to break up and remove roots from line. Push camera to verify line integrity. Both lines are now open and flowing.
That's what I thought it was. You probably know if there's an obstruction somewhere outside their clean out, if they have a clean out, we take care of the issues. And one of them, like she said, was roots, and the other one was actually a corroded line. The line was fine once they cleaned the rust out of them, but they were having backups at one of the properties, not into the house fortunately, but it didn't have, the sewer was running very, very slow. So both were fixed.
So the city, the village takes care of it if it's outside of the,
If they have a clean out, and both of these people did, then we take care of anything that's outside that clean out.
When did that start? Cause I've spent thousands of dollars for my clean up to the road twice, and was told I couldn't get any help from the village because it's my responsibility by the DPW.
Well, I don't know, but that's been the policy since before I came here.
Okay, well, that's not what they, oh, okay.
Well, we did clean out one of them that was on,
The one on like Vision Street, there's a clean out, and they said I had to take care of it. And I did the whole line up.
I guess I didn't know about or don't know about that one, that was a while ago.
Year and a half ago,
Probably.
it's fine, whatever.
So, no pipes had to be replaced,
No, correct in both cases.
but they had roots growing through them?
One of them did, but yes, but the pipe is still, it's fine, so they got the roots cleaned out.
I guess I don't understand how that works.
They just cut them out. The thing they put through there cuts the root out. It's probably an old clay pipe. That's what it is.
the roots growing through, didn't break the pipe.
It does, but they're clay.
That's where I'm going with this is, that, yeah, I mean, okay. And if you scrape all the rust off the pipe, what holds the pipe together anymore?
Most of them, the older houses are clay pipe. That old clay.
I think this was, well, I couldn't say for sure whether this was clay or.
It might have been that's where the roots come from, with the clay pipe.
I don't think roots care about it.
Right, I have another question on that same page. Why are we paying Crystal Adams reimbursement for a phone?
She's been using her phone a lot for village business, and she was not originally on that list, but she is now, so. It's not the full cost of the phone.
The next page on page 10, police and abandonment grant, 4,076, it says contracted services.
F&B or police and management ops?
FNB operations.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We had a problem with one of the pumps at the lift station. So they fixed it temporarily, and we're waiting for more parts coming to fix it permanently. The unfortunate thing is, we're not gonna need that too much longer, but we could take that chance. she's the one who's training Cassandra Postetler to do the administrative assistant job.
And how many hours, do you know, or how many weeks has she trained for $3,500?
I couldn't tell you precisely how many hours. I would guess at this point it's somewhere around $30 to $35, 30 to 35 hours, and she's continuing to do it.
So is this just through right now, or we're gonna be paying her in the future for more training?
No, she's,
This is
that's
contract.
the full vote.
So on top of the 25 she gets from EDA, she's getting 35 for training Cassandra. Page 14, R&S Technical Services. Chlorine leak repair, where is that chlorine leak at?
Yes, obviously at the filter building.
At the filter building?
Yeah.
So what did they do to repair it?
I presume they had to get parts to repair it, but
New parts, I'm assuming?
I'm only guessing, so yes.
And then on that same page at the bottom, Kaplan Environmental for $9,402. Force main break on King Road, that was the last one that we just had?
And I'm sorry, which page?
14.
That would have been for the one that we had, I think, in January, on King Road.
And then we had one after that?
No, we had two in October and this one in January. Well, actually, the two were at the same time on King Road in October, and the one in January was a new one.
So this is for the January one?
For the what?
For the January break?
Yes, correct.
And was this for hauling, or just on standby, or did they actually have to haul stuff up to the river? They had to haul pipe up there. Do we have pipe yet? Do we have enough yet to take a break?
Well, what happens is MMPA fortunately has some, and so when we need some, we get it from MMPA and then replace it or reimburse it, so.
All right, that's all I have.
Any other questions on the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,000, that would be nice. $106,672.08. 106,672.08.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Piper, supported by Gilman, again, 106-67208. Do the bills as presented. Further discussion? Call roll, please.
Stevens,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
and Mathers. Yes. Piper,
Yes.
T. Mathers,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Denman.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. The next item is public comment, item 5. This is where the audience has a chance to ask questions, make comments to council. There's no microphone over there, is there? If you would please stand at your chair and address council, anything that's on the agenda or any other items you'd like to talk about. And again, keep your-
Hi, my name is Todd Whittick. I created this scale. This is a small model. You can pass those down to Mark. Excuse me. If that's vice versa. We'll just, if you guys run out. But the math is pretty generic, folks. This has to do with our bond that we passed at 40%. And we did it in 2 increments of 20. So that if you look at the model, it's relatively simple. Although when we add 20% to the 120, it becomes 24%. So in essence, it's 44% that this went up. That scaled off $100 per month times 12. Are we following the math? I mean, it's in front of you. 100 plus 20% is 120. 120 times 20% is 24%. and we were told 20% or 40% 2 times. Are we gonna augment that? Let's forget that, let's move on. That's 4% to my $100 bill, and that's the model I'm creating. That's $48 a year for me. $48 over 40 years is $1,920. If we do that for 700 households, that's 1,344,000 folks, if you wanna check my math. I'm just doing this to wake people up, the way that we're spending money. And I do have copies for anyone that wants to do this. But I hear things, and we're being delivered a different bill. And I would yield any questions from the audience, if it's permitted. I think it merits some discussion in close of what we're doing here.
I hear none from the council, so,
Okay?
thank you, Todd.
Good evening, Mark Vogue, 1035 South Washington Street. Two things that periodically things are mentioned and then they die, never to be mentioned again unless I come back and ask them. There was a time that there was a conversation when there was a demolition of a house here in the village, that it would be a good idea, everybody agreed it was a good idea, but no action was followed up on, that when we have an aging housing population, houses are removed, that the house not be buried, but removed. And currently, from what I was led to believe, there is nothing on the Constantine books as how to deal with that. I think it would be a good idea for the village to create or look into what is current code by other cities for that. That's item number one. Item number two, the properties here in the village, the number of buildable lots are shrinking quickly to the point there aren't any. And there had been mention of possibly purchasing other land on the perimeter of the village for growth, and I'm just curious if, did that just float into, did I not hear that correctly? And what the potential status of that is. So those are my two items that I'm bringing forth to the council.
Mind if I respond?
No,
I don't know where you may have heard that rumor.
No, as long as, it was within 4 years.
Okay,
There was a conversation.
among the council?
Hypothetical, there was nothing strict, there was nothing, there was something, there's some, yeah, I did hear that as a potential.
I can tell you, I have never heard of any conversation about buying property outside the village.
Okay, well then that answers that question.
Okay.
And the other issue?
About burying the house?
Yes,
I will tell you, I can respond to that, you can't do it legally. You have to clear it away.
that is on the books, because that's
It's the
not
law.
how, that,
It's not on our books, it's the law.
okay, then somehow that didn't get expressed in the meeting.
Okay, I know of one case where that happened, but since then, I've heard the law does not allow you to bury the house or bury the structure.
And the foundation can stay or not stay?
Pardon me?
Can the foundation stay, or does the foundation?
It all has to go.
A basement and anything,
Yeah.
okay. Excellent, that answers that question, thank you.
Yep, you're very welcome.
Do I have any seconds left, Mark?
No.
There was purchase of property.
anyone else?
A discussion.
Speak for council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on then. Visitor presentation. I know of none for tonight. Mark, do you have a visitor?
No.
Consent agenda, starting on page 17 with the manager's report. From police, DPW, and fire following.
I have a question. What's the difference in snow removal and major snow?
Well, major snow, I would presume means major roads, major streets, but
It says major snow 18.5 overtime hours, and it says local snow 20.5.
possible. It could be both parking lots and or local roads.
Okay. Just wondered.
I have a question on that consent agenda also on the DPW. They have 14.5 hours of overtime and 9.5 hours of overtime for the DDA. But on the bottom where they have their list of what was done in February, there's nothing that has DDA information on there. Page 19.
What was your question again, Kathy?
Oh, there's 9.5 hours for DDA on regular hours, 14.5 on overtime hours, but I'm not seeing anything at the bottom that says what they did for the DDA.
This says what?
The DDA, where they have up here, they have general major streets, then they have DDA, 9.5 regular hours, 14.5 overtime hours. You know what they did regarding for the DDA?
I don't know. That could also be for parking lot, the east lot, but no, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Any questions on other reports, police report, fire report?
I don't want on the police report, if I could ask real quick. Traffic stops is 50, citations, tickets is 18, verbal warnings is 42. So the 42 and the 18 add up to 60. Is there something I'm missing from the 50 to the 60?
I would have to say there's a lot of scenarios. You might stop somebody for one thing and give a verbal warning. You might stop somebody for one thing and give 3 tickets and no verbal warnings. So I'd have to look at every traffic stop too.
I was just curious why it didn't add up to the 50.
Right,
So, my math had,
yeah, multiple violations.
okay.
We've had a lot of those lately, so.
A lot of verbal warnings.
Do we get compliant?
They pulled me over a
Warnings
lot.
enough, right?
They pull you
They pulled me
over.
over a lot.
Still getting warnings?
Any other questions regarding consent agenda from council?
Okay, I'll make a motion, we accept consent agendas as presented.
I'll second.
A motion by trustee Lawrence, supported by trustee Yonge, to accept the consent agenda as presented. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor say yes. Yes. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. And unfinished business, we dropped the FOP and added the village recruiting. So Mark, you wanna fill us in on village recruiting?
I don't have any at the moment. I'm just trying to get a bookkeeper hired and get the budget done. I've not reached out to MML yet. So.
Well, it really shouldn't be you, it should be the personnel committee that has to start with some kind of a plan somehow to go about finding one, I mean, if you're gonna use Michigan Municipal League, then they should reach out to them, or meet first and then reach out. It's gotta get started, I mean, I'm not pushing for that, but our time is gonna be running out here, and we need someone that's going to be able to follow you for, I'm gonna say at least 90 days, at least, yeah.
Okay. Well, what generally happens is, I understood it from my contact at MML, is once I contact them, they'll give me a list of questions asking about what they want in the way of, what we want, I should say, in the way of experience, and probably more than that, also policy and that sort of thing, and we can answer those questions together, and then they'll start on the process. But candidly, I don't have time to deal with it right now.
Well, that's why I suggested the personnel committee get started on it.
I know it's been in conjunction with manager Pat, is that what, have you talked to Mark? Okay. So it'll get started in time, it'll be done. I know Mark's been very busy, I've been trying to reach him on several things, and the budget is taking up a immense amount of time.
Mark, what would you say your recommendation of shadow time for replacement?
I think 90 days is probably more than is necessary, but I want to be prepared to give it 90 days, just in case. Literally, I'm not kidding, I had 5 days, well, actually, it's 3 days from the time Don Beavers gave his notice until he left, so, because he took a couple of vacation days at the end. It was a struggle, absolutely it was, I'm not suggesting otherwise, but I think probably somewhere between 60 and 90 days.
Right. Next, under new business or budget adjustments, you'll find those on page 50 for fiscal year 24-25.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This
Took about 3 minutes for that to sink in. That has to do with, I think there's a memo in your packet. The cost for all the excavation and so forth to identify lead pipes. First of all, we hadn't anticipated that, and secondly, it came to about $70,000 with more to do this year. So what I'm suggesting, what I'm asking is that you approve transferring $70,000 from the general fund to the water fund to make up that deficit. It's not really a deficit, but I mean, we're very low in the water fund.
Didn't we put a cap on KLS?
Well, you did. I don't know how I could cap that. I mean, they were still in the middle of everything.
But they gave us an estimate of what we thought they'd do it for, when we put a cap on.
And that estimate included a certain number of hours or a certain number of houses, but it also did not include a whole lot of digging they had to do to get around roots and so forth, particularly in the what's that called, the area you live in?
Russell?
The Russell Edition. I mean, they worked their tails off, and our guys worked their tails off to get all the pipelines exposed and identified.
Were we supposed to get state assistance for part of that?
I'm sorry?
Were we supposed to get some state assistance for part of that?
No. It's an unfunded state mandate.
Remember that, why can't we get it?
Yeah. Flint got help.
They get all their money to the plant down here to build it. How much money needs to go in there?
Mark suggested 70,000. from take it from the general fund, which there's money there, and move it to the water fund. One fund to another. Any other questions or comments on that item?
So is that what based on your projected year-end budget minus the 70, that covers everything? Or is this just to replace the
Everything up
70
until-
that was taken out?
Everything up until now. Like I said, there will be more work in the 25-26 budget year on the water lines, both identifying and replacing where necessary and so forth. So,
Other questions? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to transfer $70,000 from the general fund to the water fund budgets.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Motion by M. Mathers, supported by Lawrence, to move $70,000 from the general fund to the water fund budgets. Any further comment? Call vote, please.
G. Mathers,
Yes.
Lawrence,
it. Yes.
Steers,
Yes.
Denman,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
M. Mathers,
Yes.
Piper.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Okay, page 51. DBA appointments.
I'll read from the memo that I think everybody, or most everybody on the council is aware that the DDA, when they have openings or somebody's term expires, the DDA makes suggestions or asks the council to approve persons that they've, that have volunteered to continue or to fill empty slots. This year, as of December 31st, both John Heskett and Katie Fisher's terms expired. Both have agreed, if asked to do it, to continue to serve on the DDA board. So essentially, I'm asking you, at the DDA's request, to reappoint both John Heskett and Katie Fisher to serve on the DDA board of directors for terms that will expire on December 31 of 2029.
I'll make that motion, that we reappoint John Heskett and Katie Fisher to serve a 4-year term on the DDA.
Support.
Okay, motion by trustee Piper, supported by trustee Lawrence, to reappoint John Heskett and Katie Fisher to the DBA board of directors for terms expiring December 31, 2029. Further discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item C, adding for the meeting, budget workshop.
Exactly that. I'd like to set a date to have a budget workshop. The time is drawing close, so I'm hoping for Saturday morning, this coming Saturday morning. Is that the 22nd?
Yes.
At a time that you choose. Typically, we start at about 9 a.m.
Okay. It does need to be done, so that's about the only time I see. Any discussion from council? Does that work for everyone?
Works for me.
Okay, do you need a motion on that, or we just need to show up at 9 a.m.?
No, I don't.
Open to the public,
Pardon me?
open to the public.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
9 AM Saturday, March 22nd. All right. They want to remind people in memos, somebody else is sending memos. Speaking from past history.
I can do that.
Thank you. Next, public hearing then, letter D. And this is on the budget.
Yeah, just to adopt the budget. I'm hoping, I know we've got too many meetings, but I'm hoping for a week from tonight. And the reason is, if things don't go well that night, we're gonna have to have another meeting before, April 1st to get it resolved, so.
March 24.
24th, yes.
Does that fit with your schedules, trustees? No, another meeting a week from today
At 7?
at 7 o'clock? Yep. 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Need a motion on that, or,
That one I do.
okay?
I'll make a motion, have a budget hearing on March 24th at 7 p.m.
Second? Support. Motion by Caleb Denman, supported by Richard Lawrence, to have a budget meeting on March 24th, 25 at 7 PM at the Village Hall.
Does it have to be in the paper?
I'm sorry.
Does it have to be in the newspaper?
Yes. Wait a second. It can't be the 24th. The 29th will be better, because there wouldn't be enough time posted again.
So it's not Monday then? 29th, Sunday's the 29th,
Or
Friday?
the 28th, is the 29th of Friday?
28th is Friday.
Saturday is the 29th.
That's the day I would prefer,
Okay, which one, 28th?
28th.
Does that work for
Monday is-
trustees?
What day of the week is that?
Friday.
Friday?
That's how you wanna start.
However early you want to, I'd like.
No, wait, it'd have to be after 6, cause I have a hard time
Okay,
getting by 6.
well, would 6:30 work?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, sorry, it's gonna be.
Our clerk can't be there that night, but we can, she won't make it, but someone will be able to take minutes for us.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, we don't pay you enough yet for your jobs.
I'm good.
6:30.
29th, not the 24th. 28th?
28th, that Friday.
Okay.
Friday the 28th, starting at 6:30.
I don't know if Matt is here.
Okay.
Oh,
Don't need a motion on that, or we do? Need a motion, or everybody just knows to show up?
I already had a motion.
Oh, for that, at what time then?
6:30.
Well, it was
I mean,
the 24th.
I was gonna say,
Maybe
now it's gonna be the 28th.
Yeah, need a motion.
I did, I'll amend it.
Okay. Dick?
I'll second that.
Okay, we withdrew you withdrew the first motion, and you withdrew your second,
Yes.
and now we got a new motion for Sunday, 28th.
I mean, that puts for dinner.
6:30.
Right, Dick? You're bringing dinner for that, right?
Sure.
6:30.
I cook all the time anyway, might as well cook
Okay,
for a
yeah,
group.
make up my mind. Changed it. And donuts on the 22nd.
I'll get those.
Question 6:30 versus 7. What was your prefer?
Yeah, I just can't be here before 6:30, that's all.
Okay. Does 6:30 work for everyone?
Well, hard time doing that.
Make it 6:30 then, please.
I will send it.
I'll bring coffee.
Yeah, I can bring yours.
I'll
Donuts.
get coffee.
All right.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay. Matt, did you have something, or just, it's nice having you in our audience tonight? Okay, so that's me. You?
Well, you're here.
I did want to mention two things. We are meeting, Marcus and I are meeting tomorrow morning with Joe Benjamin to discuss the treatment plant and its eventual management. So, and the second is that when I talked with Matt earlier, late last week, I guess, about the start date for the Florence Road project. And I think you said probably sometime late May or late April or mid-May.
Late April, early May, depending on frost laws and weather. So we have to wait for the state and the county to open up the roads so they can bring in construction traffic of frost laws.
Have the businesses been notified yet?
Once we get a schedule, we can reach out and confirm. We don't want to tell the businesses anything without having it be accurate.
Did you come up with a way to spend our $143,000 yet? Before we lose it? You know what I'm talking about, the extra money we had for the sewer plant? We discussed that $140,000, what we're gonna do with it? Have you guys discussed that?
Oh,
with them?
no, but I don't know that Joe would have the answer to that. No, but there is time to worry about that. I'm sure there will be incidental costs that come up. Maybe not to spend that whole $140,000, but I know we want to spend every dime of it.
Well, I'm saying, is there something we can add back in that we took out? That was the question.
And then would he be?
There are probably several things that could be put back in that have been taken out already. It wouldn't be enough to cover sewer lining, unfortunately. It'd probably be a very short distance of sewer lining. And probably some for manholes that need to be repaired or rebuilt.
So is he the one to ask, any of the change orders that have happened for a annual preventative maintenance schedule, is our contingency fund big enough to add those change orders?
I would have to go through them with Joe. Joe would be the one to ask. And we can go through.
I was serious when I said they have to have money set aside. It's a part of the grant. We must save money for repair and replacement, so.
That wasn't the question though. The question was, since we're adding stuff back in, like the
UV system.
UV system, does that change the amount of money we have to have, since we're adding stuff in?
Oh.
Was that counted into that 500,000?
It's counted into the 500,000. Anything that they do is counted into the 500,000.
All right.
Becky?
Is it still part of the state, meeting notice that you can hang it on the door 18 hours in advance?
I have no idea.
That's an option to publish in the newspaper.
You have to do both.
Both?
Yes.
You wanna hang them up for us?
Joe, Matt can probably answer that. You're talking about for the road project?
No,
No, for the special
For the
meeting.
budget hearing.
Oh, all right, I got it.
You're required to leave it open to the public for 18 hours continuously.
No, there's no state requirement that I'm aware of that says you have to put.
It's an option to the publishing,
It's in open meetings.
Pardon me?
yeah, part of the Open Meetings Act.
I
Publish in the newspaper and/or
You have to do
notice on the
And/or.
door,
No,
It
you
was an alternative.
18 hours in advance, yeah.
have to do both. Fine.
Thanks everyone for attending. We'll close the meeting at 7:45 p.m.